the blue ribbon.
And we'll choose today.
We have to select.
Well, whenever you're ready, sir.
So we're ready. I'd like to call the 273rd meeting of the Equal Employment Practices Commission to order. We will be video conferencing via a new system now, Teams instead of WebEx. So, yeah. So we will be video conferencing in accordance with the meetings law, so we are live. This order, the agenda is the call of commissioners, the roll call of commissioners, Executive Director G. Victor.
Aldrin Benia,
President.
Elaine Reese,
Present.
Vanessa Alcantara, Nicole Yearwood,
Present.
and Gosia Powell.
Present.
We have quorum. Next order of business is the approval of the minutes for April 4th, 2024. We have a motion. We have a motion to approve the minutes from Commissioner Reese. We have a second. We have a second from Commissioner Alcantara. Do we have any discussion on the minutes? There no discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstentions? Hearing none. A motion to approve the minutes of April 4th, 2024 is approved. Next, we have the approval of audit resolutions, 2024 final determination resolutions, which we have none to vote on. The next agenda item is the 2024 compliance resolutions. We have 6 in total. Without objection, I'd like to consider all 6 as a bundle. And if Executive Director Jim Victor or Anela Castro, you can read out the resolution items.
Okay. So we have resolution number 2023 AP/273-846, 2024 C10, Department of Parks and Recreation. Resolution number 2023 AP/273-483, 2024 C11, Brooklyn Community Board 13. Resolution number 2023 AP/273-806, 2024 C12, Department of Housing Preservation and Development. Resolution number 2023 AP/273-476, 2024 C, Brooklyn Community Board 6. Resolution number 2023 AP/273-475, 2024 C14, Brooklyn Community Board 5. And resolution number 2023 AP/273-477, 2024 C15, Brooklyn Community Board 7.
And we have a motion to approve the 2024 compliance resolutions. We have a motion from Commissioner Reese. Do we have a second? We have a second, Commissioner Alcantara. Any discussion? I'd like to thank Executive Director Dean Victor. I'd like to also thank CEO Analyst, Audit Unit Manager, and Analyst also for all the correspondence in the last 2 weeks to make sure that folks made it to the finish line. Particularly the large agencies that are here before us, but also the community boards. So I know that required a lot of phone calls, a lot of emails, a lot of letters to nudge them over the finish line. So thank you for that. Hearing no other discussion or comments, all in favor of approving the compliance resolution, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstentions? Hearing none, the motion passes. There are no final determinations or compliance resolutions to vote upon in agenda item 3C. Next, we have agenda item 4, which is old business. Subsection A, the status update on the New York City Housing Authority. Executive Director G. Victor.
Yes, I just wanted to give you a brief update on the New York City Housing Authority. I know that we discussed it at the last meeting. We sent a letter to the Housing Authority indicating our position. I believe that the issue is now been resolved.
They've accepted
They've
our
accepted-
jurisdiction.
They've accepted the
Yes.
decision. In writing, or how have we come to this belief that it's been resolved?
That they are participating by providing the documentation for the audit.
did they accept it immediately? I know that at the beginning they were not accepting it, but as soon as you sent the information, those that, or did they want it to reopen?
Okay.
They-
We also have, we're gonna reopen the jurisdiction concern with New York City Economic Development Corporation, which communicated that they would not continue to participate in the audit process. And we're awaiting the hire of a new part-time legal counsel to be able to begin those kind of correspondence.
I assume therefore we have no similar letter from the law department indicating that we have jurisdiction. We checked our files and it doesn't exist.
Correct. I checked to see what we had, and it was not set forth in a opinion 1190. And I checked correspondence.
Okay. So that's why we have to start. Thank you.
Next order of business, we have the status of certificates. You should have, I think, 5 versions before you.
Yeah.
And this is one of those things where it could be a hybrid, right? If you like some aspects of one version versus another.
I would like this guy put on it. So the middle, this middle put on the thing with the photo. That's just one thing.
Well, on the other end of this, okay, continuum, I think we're a little bit far off on this one. I kind of, I'm partial to some version of these two. I think they're clean, crisp in the sense that I like the city seal.
I like the
Yeah,
city seal. I like the
And then
city
I like the
seal.
determination of compliance kind of title aspect of it. So like some kind of, something happening between both of these.
I like this. But I like this a lot, but I like that. I thought that that was the same as this. Like,
So maybe introducing some kind of
yeah,
seal of this.
Yeah.
these two.
Commissioner, Yearwood and I both like these two. This would be better if it had a seal.
yeah.
Yeah, we need this. We need the seal.
Let me elaborate on this one for half a second. If we're looking for something that someone's going to bring, this filigree is distinguished and sits it better against the wall with the frame around it. So I'm just looking at what we said, our stated mission, like we wanted something that was frameable, so that someone would put it up on the wall. And so if we take this side, and by the way, you could find yourself a gold foil seal. So this side becomes, you figure out a way to put the stamp on gold foil and superimpose the gold foil on that.
I like that this is clean. That one is, I understand what you're saying. So
That's
that
what
one-
I'm coming from. Just,
I think we have, I guess, 3 commissioners that kind
Like
of
that.
like this.
Yeah,
Do we have, some commissioners, I believe.
I think we need to do a hybrid. So like
Yeah.
this text, I like how this is laid out on this.
on that, yeah.
Yep.
I agree.
but I
This
like
frame.
this. I like the seal thing.
The
It might
seal,
be-
Yeah,
So the city seal, like if you put it on top, behind it, you kind of get a sense of how it's gonna look. So like,
Wow.
but if we have a city seal here, and then if we have some kind of version of this says New York City EEPC, so it might be redundant with the one up here, and then it might have too much going on.
yes.
Going on. I think we put the city seal here. That makes it
Right.
official.
Yeah, in the city seal.
Yeah.
But I
City
don't
seal
like
makes it
the,
official.
these fonts, I don't like as
Majority-
much as the other fonts. That are
The
more,
fonts, the font,
I like the fonts that are clear, but this is more distinguished. Every,
yeah, so we go with this border, right?
Yeah,
With this board,
and border,
Yeah,
and somehow incorporating this seal,
right.
yeah.
giving prominence.
And we
to
don't
the
care
seal.
about the
That's
font.
prominent, but
And
this
then
concept needs
I
to
like
be
that.
as large.
So which font
This
do you
does
like?
not, this does
I
not
like-
need to be enlarged.
glitter font, not
Okay,
this, I
Yeah.
think this is the one that
Okay.
I like this. I just
And then
don't
with the-
like the,
So who's
These
taking,
all-
you guys taking notes on this one, so it's.
and I like the seal,
definitely
whenever I see a
border,
seal, it looks official.
Definitely not the seal.
But I think the city seal is. what
Yeah,
makes it
it's
official.
important, I like it.
So the city seal, just like this, right?
Or maybe like this, will put it right here.
Right, put it where
Somewhere.
Commissioner Bill would.
Oh, no, the city seal comes in
And
bold
which font did you
and
guys
with the
prefer?
little thing.
Can the city seal be like an indicia, like kind of gold seal? No, right?
I don't know.
Like
I don't
these.
know. I can try to find out.
You could print it on gold.
Yeah,
Right.
If you print it on gold foil
it looks good.
and put it with your little.
Good thing.
I'm just trying to have something that looks fancier.
And then why this is the little one that we said, or that was a difference. Remember that we mentioned that for the
Smaller.
people,
The Commissioner Reese.
a smaller ones to show compliance. and
Like
something.
determination.
But it was like a two, one for the final and one for the
Fine.
compliance. So is that the difference between the two or no?
No, I think
Okay.
they're just different samples.
Okay,
Oh, this is cute.
yeah,
No,
that's good.
Too small.
It's too
That looks
small.
like the ones you put in an elevator. Yeah.
Seal.
I think the determination of compliance.
What
Clean.
typeface? It should probably be clear.
Yeah.
The font should not be
This one,
complicated one.
yeah,
It should
I
be
agree.
a clear font.
I like this font. But to be, I like these things that you guys propose. I like the seal and I like not necessarily this font, but something that is not this old style letter.
Out of the fonts before you, which fonts I'm closer to?
Uh-oh.
Oh, fine.
You're not doing enough,
Right?
enough.
I'm like, we're waving around papers, that's not it.
You're not here.
Which font
It
do you
seems
guys
to
like?
me
A
that
clean font,
this
not
clean
this one,
font,
this
but
No,
not
these are,
the-
yeah.
What
Or
style?
not italicized?
Not italics. This is a.
I
clean
mean, I
font,
think we have the general idea, maybe send us something via email, we can,
But it shouldn't be
you know,
slanted, straight.
Yeah.
This one's straight.
Okay.
So out of like the 6 options,
Because
it's like.
yeah,
This
yeah,
one's
we feel like we're not that invested in the font.
Yeah.
So there's
Just as long as it's not.
on this border,
on that
on
border
the city seal.
with the
Yeah.
city seal.
With the other-
And you play, and then with the font, a cleaner font.
And just one question about the color of this filigree, they have it in blue as well.
Oh,
Blue
in
is nice.
terms of,
And you send it by phone? How it looks in blue?
Yeah,
Can you give us
so I
both
can
options?
redo it with the blue.
Yeah.
all right, thank you. I'm sorry, Commissioner Alcantara.
I was gonna say that if the city comes in these with the two things, we,
Or like, purchase ribbons you made.
not,
Because that's kind of like a ribbon that's.
they put, like in my office, we have the golden seal on the ribbons, and they just take the ribbon, put them, and then put the seal in, when it's super official, and it looks super cute. So,
And the ribbon is actually like
It's like a ribbon.
ribbon, like
Yeah.
material.
like a material ribbon.
Correct.
We're supposed to be.
That was easy.
It's too
Yeah.
Next, we have, the old business status of new EPC personnel.
So I just wanted to give you a brief update on where we are with our part-time executive agency counsel. She's starting on July 1. So she will be at the next meeting, which is July 11th.
Great, congratulations.
Yeah.
Can you, remind us of the latest, like, 2 or 3 hires?
Yeah, so the last hire that we just had was Tanisha Springer. She's an EEO program analyst. I would like for you to meet some of the team. And prior to that, we had Logan Pace, he's also an EEO program analyst. And prior to that, we have Darrell Mitchell, who's also an EEO program analyst.
So we have,
What is your total number right now?
We have 12. So our
Is it-
head count is 12.
is it 12 and a half or 11 and a half?
No, the part-time does not count.
So it's 12 and then a part-time.
Right.
Excellent.
So you're back to
Our full complement.
full complement and you still are asking for additional staff.
Or 5. That's the request.
And do you think that it's gonna happen?
That's gonna be discussed, I guess. Well, when do you provide that update? The meeting with the,
That's going to be an executive session.
just, okay, executive
Okay.
session.
Okay.
Next, we have, new business, section 5, subsection A, the EO officer handbook.
Yeah, I wanted to give you an update on that. We just launched a new project, working a little bit with DCAS. That we, DCAS had a EEO best practices meeting where all of their EEO officers are required to attend. And we launched the concept of an EEO officer handbook. And the reason that we're launching this concept is because I feel that the 109 corrective actions that we had last year were too many. And many of the excuses were that we have new people, they were transitioning, they don't know where things are, they haven't done anything, they didn't know what to do. And so I thought that if there was some sort of a handbook with at least a checklist of the things that they need to do, that could help guide them. And the reason we had it at the EEO best practices meeting is because I want the EEO officers to work on this, not the EEPC staff per se, because I want them to own it. So we had 10 volunteers that ranged from tiny agencies to larger agencies, mostly mid-size agencies. I think we have 5 from mid-size agencies. And they will be having their first meeting probably next week or 2. That's November.
I have a suggestion. Within it, can you make sure that you put together how they can enter the materials so that you get the data and therefore how to read the data? There's something that's specific, like, I'm assuming they're all computer literate, but if there's something that's very clear so that they can't later say, we didn't know where to put it.
Or we didn't know how to upload it.
I didn't know. And so it's really sort of, if there's not only a directory of what to look for, but actually have it.
But then, is the handbook to teach them how to do it? Who's gonna be the user of the handbook?
The EEO officers.
So it's more for them to know how to comply with our rules.
With our audits, yes.
Mm. Okay.
Do you have an expected completion date?
Well, we've left that open at this point so that we can get a sense of how it's going to go. I first wanted to make sure that we got enough volunteers. Having gotten 10, we'll probably be splitting them into two groups of 5, and that they would work on different aspects of the audit program.
Might I suggest that you suggest a completion date, because otherwise it may not happen.
Yes, there will be a completion date. So
Do we have, our fiscal year ends
On June 30th.
in 30? OTPS cannot be carried over. And then, because I would recommend, like, at some point, depending how we fare in the next budget, hiring a professional writer once we get everything together, just so that, maybe a professional writer cannot be about 15 hours of consultant's time, 20 hours of consultant's time, so it's technical language or uniform, professional, it's polished, it's, a document that can, prove the test of time, and that, something that we put our stamp on in terms of the EEPC that is professionally written.
And it should be reprinted as an addendum to the annual report. so that it's contained within the annual report, which will get it more circulation theoretically.
And then I guess this serves as content for the website as well.
Yes.
You can live there. Any other updates on the EO officer handbook or questions, comments?
A good idea. You should be complimented. on it.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Mhm.
thank you.
I think our streaming service might be frozen. Says that we're still live, so. Not sure.
There's a delay.
Says
Might
in
be
the street.
This is the first time we're using this platform.
Microsoft Teams.
So there's some technical hiccups. But if everyone's okay, I would like to continue with the agenda.
Yeah.
Might come back.
It's still going, it's just like,
Next order of business, we have the next employment advisory committee meeting.
Yes, I put this on the agenda because I wanted to alert you that I'm going to set a date for another advisory committee meeting. We haven't had any lately because the last few meetings that we held, which were last year, we were really the only ones participating. And I didn't feel that if, the other agencies were not going to participate, it didn't feel like it was maybe the right time to have them. So now I think that we have a lot to share, and also I would like to make sure that the Racial and Gender Equity Commission is also invited so that we can discuss our roles and responsibilities and ensure that we are not interfering in each other's work. I want to make sure that our boundaries are set.
Does DCAS have a new commissioner yet?
As far as I know, the answer is no.
Maybe when they do have a new commissioner, we might be able to invite them to our next commission meeting.
I'm sure.
A meet and greet. Get on their radar early in their tenure. Next, we have section 6, audit update. Subsection A, the status of 2023-2024 audit plan status updates.
Yes, so you should have 2 papers in front of you. So, the first one I'll look at is the one that has the bigger. So what this shows you is that the corrective actions that the agencies that you all just voted on from section 3B, which corrective actions they had. And we have a shorthand of each of our standards just kind of listed here, and then it'll show you which specific corrective actions the agencies will monitor for.
I don't know.
So,
Who's ER number 2?
yeah, so that is the compliance resolution number. So
And these.
So, in section 3B, right?
On the
the-
agenda.
B3.
Yeah, so B3 would be HPD. And they had the resolution number
Under
12.
section 3.
Okay. There's no section 3.
Yeah, there's a section 3,
There's a
approval of audit.
Okay,
resolution.
3.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the other one is 3B1.
Yes,
Okay.
so one agency had 6 corrective actions, 1 5 for monitoring, and then they both had corrective actions pertaining to assessment of selection methods and criteria for discretionary and civil service titles. And they both had the annual workforce review. So,
One of them didn't have an EEO. Or 2 of them, appoint a principal EEO, appoint support EEO.
yeah, so what happens there, a lot of the time, they get the corrective action for not having all the training
Okay.
that we identify for the role. So the first part is appoint them, and then the second part of the standard is make sure they're trained on their role and responsibilities.
How many parts doesn't have an EO? they're not also marked on the training. Oh, it's the training plan, not necessarily this person has been trained.
I have a different question.
Yes.
19 and 20. Do they lead into the issue that we find where people are not promoted? Does this lead into the promotion discrepancies that we find and where people are located? Would they be assess selection methods for discretionary and civil service? Does that lead back into promotion?
That is part of the question.
So that, I mean, it seems to me that maybe that says, as you're going through your presentation in July, that you somehow focus on that aspect, either repeating it or find somewhere that a speaker refocuses on it. Because it looks, I mean, if it's common to HPD and parks, it may be a broader problem across the entire city system. I don't know that that's true. It just seems to me that may be an indication that it's true. They are not similar at all as to units. I mean, parks has a whole lot of people that don't come into a central office, don't deal with it, and a lot of people that are, for want of a better term, laborers. And HPD has a skill set of employees. So the fact that they both are sharing that problem raises some concern. Anyway, I may be reading it incorrectly.
No, I mean, it does show that they both have those areas that they did receive corrective actions for. And ultimately, the goal is to have it for all agencies. Once, now that we've got the last few entities from the 2023 audit plan into compliance, we would do something similar for all of the agencies that we audited for the 2023 audit plan.
Be very
So
useful.
we'll have, yeah,
Let me ask a question. In terms of these 19 and 20,
yes.
is this the process, the issue is the process that they follow for this to create the titles, or this is the process they follow to evaluate the people within those titles?
So it's more so to evaluate the people that end up in the titles.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not the title creation itself, it's how they use.
So part of it is we do ask that they look at the requirements for the titles
Okay.
to make sure that they are up to date and still required. So some agencies do focus groups,
Yeah.
or they may reach out to individuals in those titles to see, okay, are the requirements still where they need to be? Should we make adjustments? Are these outdated? That kind of thing. So that is part of it.
Okay.
Commissioner Reese?
But I don't think they have much control over civil service titles.
Yeah.
They can, to your point, they can change discretionary titles. Because that will go to the needs of the particular agency. They can't alter civil service titles. So the civil service title is what it is. So an accountant in the civil service title is an accountant.
What some agencies do is they do try to
Yeah.
provide
they
feedback
expand.
to DCAS
Yeah.
if they find that some of the requirements for the civil service title should be amended. Obviously, they don't have control, so it doesn't always happen. Or sometimes I know DCAS also reaches out to the agencies when, let's say, an exam is coming up for a certain civil service title. So once again, take a look at the
But normally, what I've seen is that you put a petition for the title to be revisited or tweaked. That doesn't mean that it's gonna come positive, but people go through the motions. Okay. Thank you.
Any other comments from?
My only one comment, it was for but I already went and read the other one.
Yeah, the other sheet shows the community board. So we have less standards for the community board, and that's slightly different. So that's why they're not together. So the community boards that were also voted on from section 3B of the agenda, this shows which corrective actions they had.
So my question is, in number 3, is it that the EEO hasn't taken the sexual harassment training, or is that the EEO training and the sexual harassment training are not being performed.
both. So for that standard, we look to see that the board staff and the chairperson has both trainings.
Okay.
And that was part of the reason there has been some struggle with getting some of the community boards into compliance, that there were many issues trying to get them to train.
And they all have EO offices.
So the community boards don't have their own EEO officers. They utilize the respective former president's EEO officer.
Okay.
So they would, reach out to their respective borough president's office to get access to the training, but also if any complaints or other issues come out. Well,
Any other comments or questions? So, I like, for my part, at a certain point, if any other commissioner is interested, if you can schedule like an educational session, I particularly will benefit from one, seeing it's been a while since I dug deep into it, but understanding the different components of the standards. Because I know, I guess for each standard, I suspect there are different components within it that are indicators. And I like to look at it from the point of view of what's really driving the lived experiences of municipal employees. So what I mean by that, I like to punctuate again. I want to really make clear this point that, for example, establishing and utilizing a complaint tracking system, like understanding what goes into that, and particularly the aspects that go into that really reflect how people are being treated once complaints are filed. So, for example, is there a column that says when the complaint was filed, if the complaint was closed, is the difference between that date and the other date, is it 60 days or is it 6 years? Like that kind of stuff that really is what people are living through. In terms of distribution of the EO policy statement, is it something that is it just an email that's sent out? Is it an email plus when they get onboarded, they sign something to the effect disclosing that they reviewed it, or so I like to just get a better sense of each standard, and then push to the extent that we can within each standard. What does it really mean for the people working for the city of New York in terms of just looking at compliance here?
Well, that kind of a deep dive into the standards will probably take several meetings. So you can probably schedule like 15, 20 minutes for each meeting to go through different ones. Okay.
That makes much more sense.
Yeah. And we take the bundle like 3 standards and it has to together for keep that an hour. All right. Any other discussion on the standards update? Next, we have.
I have a question. Where are we on audits in terms of numbers?
All right, so for 2023,
Finished.
we were finished with all the audits now.
What was that
And
number?
so we are up to compliance resolution for the calendar year, up to resolution number 15
15 now, for
Yeah.
this year.
for this year. Last year, we ended at 60, 61 compliance resolutions for the whole
Okay.
year. And now, so far, we're at 15.
So theoretically, it'll make it through year 35.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I just, sounds silly, but I just want to be sure what our numbers are reading.
Next, we have the status of agency hearings for non-compliance.
And I put that on the calendar. It's really just a reiteration of what we just now said, that the agencies that had been in non-compliance and for which we had written letters to and phone calls and everything, are now in compliance.
And they were basically
Congratulations.
the community boards.
Mostly, yes.
Is that just a lack of understanding?
Honestly, I think it was more so breakdowns between different parties. So DCAS, OTI, the borough president's office, and the community board, a lot of the times it was all four parties involved in some manner and trying to get the staff to complete the training. So I think that served as a hurdle. But there were several issues technology-wise that agencies brought to attention, but then also how accessible they felt the training.
Next, we have a research update. Chief Victor probably has some good news to share on Russell Ferry, and then probably do the update in his step.
Well, just to let you know, Russell was accepted into the city's management training boot camp kind of program. So it meets on Thursdays. So, but this will be the only Thursday that will impact the meetings. So,
That's terrific.
yes, it's really great
It's
news.
wonderful.
They had a lot of applicants this year and they only take but so many. And because they had so many applicants, they're going to reopen the training for the fall. So luckily, we were able to get at least one person. So, so for the status of the local law 13 reports, there really has been no change. At the last meeting, Russell said that, all 3 reports were done. Well, the 2 reports, the 2 local law 13 reports were done. And we get the data from DCAS in July. So once the end of the fiscal year happens, then they run the reports and then we'll get the data. And then that will start the clock on the next round of local law 13 reports.
And next we have, I'm sorry, any comments, questions?
I'm trying to have us make a presentation at New York Law School on local law 13. I've written a letter to the dean saying he owes me one and see what response I get back.
Next, we have symposium update. Everybody has a symposium date on their calendar?
So we're gonna send out invites. We had sent out some save the dates, but they basically went out to the EEO officers and HR officers in-house. I've looked at the list and we're adding all the commissioners and the staff, which just didn't get invited as well. But those should be going out momentarily, actually. I told my team not to open up any registration until after this meeting. So at this point, we should be in a position to start registering people.
It's June 17th, right?
June 8th.
18th.
At what time again?
It's from 10 to 12:30.
I will not be there.
Is it by Zoom or?
It's priced by Teams, yes.
Okay.
It's remote, yes.
It's remote.
Can you tell us a little bit more
And
about
it's going to be simultaneously live streamed on YouTube, and it'll be recorded so you can always see it later. So here's the agenda. We should have a flyer, which I wanted to get out, and I'll give you a flyer before we leave for the day. The schedule goes like this: at 10 o'clock, the chair will give some welcoming remarks. At 10:10, Menelik and I will be performing the audit update, at which point we'll be talking about the audit standards and changes to audit standards, how our audit standards and our audit plan will now be able to be found on our website. So we are trying to make the website more accessible to people. And our presentation will last a half an hour. And then from there, research will be presenting. There's two presentations that are going to be made. One is going to be regarding the pilot program, and the other will be regarding one of the city's local law 13. So at that point, we are going to focus on the recommendations that we've made in the report so that the agencies hear the recommendations and hopefully it resonates with everybody.
Have you made provision for questions during the presentation and time to allow for questions?
Yes, so for the first two presentations, we'll take questions after. And then for the third presentation, there's definitely a firm question and answer period. And the third presentation will be Dr. Beverly Tarulli from NYU, who will talk about the employee value proposition and the employer City of New York brand and how that can help to increase diversity in the workforce.
At some point, maybe after Dr. Beverly or before, the city has launched a new, I think, $1 million initiative or something on Run the City to attract people to work for New York City government.
Yes.
Maybe someone could speak to, just for 5 minutes, the city's marketing, advertising efforts around Run the City. What are they thinking? What are the demographics they're going for? What are the recruitment?
Any level, or they run the cities only for money?
I don't know. I just know that that's like the catchphrase that's the marketing brand
Yeah.
that they have come up with. Like, come help run the city.
Yeah.
Run the city. And,
That is,
yeah, I don't know if they have.
Actually, if the speaker could integrate that into her talk.
So
The
we
details.
recently became aware that the city was making a lot of changes to its recruiting and onboarding processes. And I sent that information over to the speaker. So I'm waiting to see how she integrates that.
So you might find out if this is part of it, or even if you're going to have it separately, have her reiterate it.
So if you have, find out from the mayor's office who's really spearheading that, maybe they could just give us the 5-minute elevator pitch, 10 minutes on it.
Okay.
Who are they targeting? What are the groups? What are they seeing? I think the city is recently publicly stating that all of their recruitment and hiring efforts have yielded vacancies to decrease from 8% city vacancies throughout the city to about 6%.
Great.
So they're touting a 2% reduction in vacancies because of the hiring, the recruitment, the advertising, the onboarding of new employees. So to the extent that's the case, that's very impressive. But then, knowing more of what the city's doing to recruit talent, retain talent, in terms of their strategies, well, that would be helpful. So,
In fact, it's a retention issue as much as it is
I was
anything
gonna
else.
say.
It's probably a greater retention issue.
yeah, so I guess both, right? So yeah, so I think it's called Run the City. It's the marketing plan. Next, any other questions on the symposium?
I have it in my calendar.
All it's very exciting. All the commissioners, when you're there, you should probably allow the commissioners a minute or something, just greet the audience, just say hi. We're very excited. Hopefully we'll get, I think last time we had 200 and something people attend.
Yes.
Hopefully we'll get a similar number of interest in terms of 300 or so different EO professionals and reps from the different city agencies. Next, we have city agency pilot program. We wanted to give like a general comment on that.
Yeah,